Welcome to the Deconstructionist Deep Dive.
The podcast that doesn't just accept the story.
We break it
We examine the pieces.
and expose the machinery inside.
Let's dive in.
What if everything about the secret formula for success isn't just wrong, but is designed to be wrong?
Okay, let's think about that.
Eh.
Designed to fail. Or maybe designed to make you feel like the failure.
Exactly. Today we are taking the scalpel to one of the, most pervasive and profitable ideologies out there, the self-help success formula.
Yes, the 7 habits, the 5 keys, those kinds of things.
Precisely. Those step-by-step guides, think Jack Canfield's 6 steps, that promise, total life transformation.
If you just follow the recipe, visualize hard enough, put in the work.
Right. But our mission today, our central question, is really pushing against that.
We're asking, what if this whole framework isn't just flawed advice? What if it's actually built to be flawed? What if the very structure is the problem?
Yeah, we're not just looking at whether these steps, work for the odd person here or there, because sure, anomalies happen.
Statistical outliers, right?
We're doing a structural analysis. We're looking at the whole industry, the neoliberal self-help machine.
The architecture of its claims, how it engineers emotions, and crucially, its function, its political function in today's economy.
Because the story they sell you, the one on every bestseller list, is that these are shortcuts, your path to the good life.
But the sources we're digging into, critical theory, sociology, media studies, they paint a really different picture, a much darker one.
Okay, let's lay out the primary thesis we've extracted. This isn't just feel-good motivation.
No, not at all.
It's presented as a sophisticated ideological apparatus. That's the core argument.
Taking that old Protestant work ethic idea, work hard, be rewarded, and twisting it.
Twisting it into something new, something perfectly suited for our times, a system designed to produce a certain kind of person.
A specific kind of worker, a specific kind of consumer. What the sources call a neoliberal subjectivity.
And it's not really about helping you find genuine fulfillment, is it? It's about something else.
It's about demanding cognitive closure, basically shutting down questions.
Stopping you from looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly. Stopping you from critically examining the structural forces.
Yeah.
The economy, politics, social issues that are actually shaping your life.
So as things go wrong.
You only look inward. It ensures you blame yourself, never the system.
All right, so to really get under the hood here, we have to shift how we even see this self-help stuff. It's not just advice.
Right. Let's frame it like our sources do, as a deliberate ideological architecture.
A machine built for a purpose.
A finely tuned machine, yeah. And its primary purpose, to make individuals internalize systemic failure. Think about the language they use.
Empowerment. You have the power. Take control.
All about personal power, total control over your destiny. But think about the implication of that.
Well, if I believe I have 100% control, and then I fail,
Where does the blame go?
it has to be me, my fault.
Exactly. And that's the genius, if you want to call it that, of this core mechanism. The very act of accepting total personal responsibility guarantees your compliance.
Because if you think the world is unfair, you might try to change the world.
But if you think you are inadequate,
Then you'll buy the next course, the next book, to fix yourself.
our sources lay out this really quite chilling 4-phase conditioning process. It hammers home this idea. Your outcomes, good or bad, are purely down to you, your merit, your effort.
Let's break that down. This is like the operating system getting installed. Phase 1.
Phase 1 is desire quantification. It starts immediately. It takes big, broad human ambition.
Like wanting happiness or, a better world.
Yeah, wanting connection, meaning.
Yeah.
And it forces you to reduce them, shrink them down.
Into what? Numbers.
Into measurable targets, KPIs, key performance indicators, just like in a business plan.
So I can't just want to be happy. I have to define happiness as, say, earning $100,000 by Q3.
Precisely. That reduction is step 1 in trapping you. The second your desire gets quantified like that, you're forced to play the game by the system's rules.
The capital game.
Yeah. The scope of what's possible for you, what's considered a valid goal, gets brutally narrowed down to things that fit corporate or market metrics.
What if my real desire is just, spending more time with my kids?
The formula will likely demand you turn that into a quantifiable project too, like increase quality family time by 15% through optimizing chore schedules. It has to be measurable, accumulation-oriented.
Okay, so first they quantify desire. What's phase 2?
Phase 2 builds on that, pseudoscientific validation. This is where the marketing really ramps up.
Making it sound official, legitimate.
Right. They wrap the whole process in jargon that sounds technical, scientific, but often isn't.
Yeah.
Or it's wildly distorted.
Like referencing evolutionary psychology out of context, or maybe some physics concept completely mangled.
Or neuroscience, which we'll definitely get back to. The goal is just to give it the feel of rigor.
Like it's based on some secret knowledge the guru has.
Exactly. A fancy label on an old bottle. It convinces you this isn't just fluff. It's science.
Okay, quantified desire, pseudoscientific backing. Phase 3.
Phase 3 is action moralization. This is where it gets really sticky. The effort required, the grind,
The hustle.
yeah, the long hours, the sacrifices,
Yeah.
that stops being just a means to an end. It becomes framed as a moral duty, an ethical pursuit.
So skipping a step in the formula or taking a day off.
It isn't just being tired or needing a break. No, it's framed as a moral failure. You're letting your dream down. You lack spiritual fortitude.
Wow. Weaponizing guilt.
Absolutely. Ensure you keep pushing even when it's harmful or pointless.
And the final phase, the one that locks it all in.
Phase 4, feedback internalization. This is the linchpin. This is where success or failure gets defined only as a reflection of your internal state, your effort, your belief.
External factors just don't count.
Economic crash, doesn't matter. Facing discrimination. Oh, that's just a limiting belief you failed to visualize away.
So if you fail,
It's always because you didn't apply the steps right, or you didn't believe hard enough, or you didn't want it badly enough. The external world is irrelevant.
so the net result of this whole 4-phase process, what does it ultimately achieve?
It basically wipes out any definition of success that isn't about accumulation, material gain, measurable outputs that serve the existing structure.
Things like community contribution or artistic expression or just being a decent person.
Those get sidelined, or worse, they get pathologized. If your deepest satisfaction comes from something that doesn't generate wealth or easily quantifiable result,
There's something wrong with you.
according to this ideology, yes. You're seen as lacking ambition, or maybe you're stuck in scarcity thinking. You need fixing. You need the next book, the next seminar.
All right, so we've mapped out the mechanism, how it functions. Now let's dismantle the very foundation it's built on, the logic. Or maybe the lack thereof.
Yeah, this is crucial. It's not just motivational fluff. It's based on some deeply flawed ways of knowing, an epistemological house of cards.
The gurus sell stories, right? Not sound knowledge.
Exactly. Let's start with the big methodological flaws. Number 1 has to be survivorship bias.
Ah, the classic. This seems like the absolute core of the deception.
It really is. These self-help narratives, they focus only on the outliers, the rare success story.
They talk about themselves, obviously, or they dig up some historical figure who beat incredible odds, like, who was it? Goddard.
John Goddard, yeah, the guy who supposedly achieved 127 life goals he listed as a teenager. Amazing story, but
completely ignores the millions who had similar goals and didn't achieve them.
precisely. It ignores the statistical base rates. It's like studying lottery winners to understand wealth creation,
Declaring the secret is just buying more tickets.
while ignoring everyone who lost. They show you the one person who followed the steps and got rich, but conveniently forget the, 999 others who did the same, worked just as hard, and got nowhere, or worse.
It's not evidence, it's just selective storytelling, marketing,
And they amplify this bias by using what the sources call anecdotal substitution.
replacing actual evidence with
Right.
just stories.
Vivid, memorable, but totally unrepresentative stories.
Yeah.
You see these examples in the materials.
Like the guy who ate a bicycle. Seriously.
Apparently. Or, someone setting some absurd record for selling Girl Scout cookies.
Okay, but why those kinds of stories? What's the function?
They're potent. They grab you emotionally. They seem to defy logic, which plants the seed that maybe, just maybe, anything is possible if you follow the formula intensely enough.
So they swap real, boring data for exciting, inspiring myths.
They substitute emotional manipulation for sober analysis. And then comes the really audacious part.
The science-y sounding stuff.
Scientific misappropriation. Yes, taking real scientific concepts
Neurological ones,
They're-
6 sometime.
and twisting them completely out of shape, using them to give a pseudoscientific gloss to what is essentially magical thinking.
The big example mentioned is the reticular activating system, the RAS.
Ah, the RAS, the magic brain filter.
Explain how they misuse that. The RAS is real, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a part of your brainstem, helps regulate alertness, filters sensory input. It's why when you decide you want a specific car, you suddenly see it everywhere.
Your brain is filtering for relevance. Makes sense.
But the self-help version, They stretch that biological fact into some kind of metaphysical law.
Like if you just visualize money intensely enough, your RAS will magically filter reality to only show you opportunities to get rich.
That's the claim. It's a total distortion. They use a real brain function to sell the idea that your mind is a manifestation machine, guaranteed to work if you just buy their programming steps.
It's marketing disguised as neuroscience. Okay, so the methodology is flawed. What about the internal logic, the arguments themselves?
Riddled with fallacies.
Yeah.
The most basic one is post hoc ergo propter hoc.
After this, therefore because of this.
Yeah, exactly. The entire industry rests on it. Person follows the steps. Success happens later. Therefore, the steps cause the success.
Ignoring everything else. Market conditions, luck, privilege, timing.
All irrelevant in their model. Correlation becomes causation deliberately. It has to, for the narrative to work.
But the most, I don't know, intellectually dishonest part seems to be the way it handles failure.
Ah, yes. The escape hatch. Circular reasoning? This is what makes the system bulletproof.
How does that work?
The core premise is, the system works if you believe hard enough and apply the steps perfectly.
Okay. So what happens if I follow the steps meticulously, believe as hard as I can, and I still fail?
Well, clearly you didn't really believe hard enough. Or you missed a subtle nuance in step 3.
So the failure is never proof the system is wrong.
Never. Failure is always proof that you were deficient. Your belief, your effort, your commitment, it wasn't enough.
Which means the formula itself remains perfect, infallible.
Always. And you remain flawed, always needing the next piece of advice, the next seminar. It inoculates the system against any external critique.
You can't argue with it because the moment you doubt, that doubt itself becomes proof you're not applying the formula correctly.
It's the ultimate intellectual defense mechanism. Ingenious in a very cynical way. So if the logic is so shaky, why does this stuff resonate so deeply? Why are millions, including smart, educated people, drawn to it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is, and the answer lies in what our sources call narrative and emotional engineering. Think of it as a PSYOPS framework, psychological operations designed for the consumer market.
It's about the power of story, the emotional hooks.
Exactly. These narratives bypass our critical thinking. They tap into deep-seated archetypes, like the hero's journey for capitalism.
Okay, unpack that. How does that work?
Well, you, the individual listener, the customer, you are cast as the hero. Your struggles, debt, self-doubt, feeling stuck, those are the dragons you need to slay.
Standard hero stuff so far.
But here's the twist, the narrative deception. Who's the magical helper? The wise mentor giving you the tools.
The guru, the formula.
Close. It's the system itself. The competitive, capitalist, neoliberal system is secretly positioned as the source of the magic tools, the 6 steps, the secrets that will help you defeat your personal dragons.
So the system that might actually be causing the problems is presented as the solution.
Precisely. It keeps your focus entirely internal, fighting your own limiting beliefs instead of questioning the structure you're operating within.
Polishing your armor instead of examining the castle walls, as you said earlier.
Right. And to give this personal quest a sense of, well, moral weight, they often use sacred symbol co-option.
Taking symbols or language that have deep cultural resonance and applying them to, what? Making money.
Basically, yeah. The most potent example the sources highlight is the co-option of Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream rhetoric.
Wow. Okay, King's dream was about fundamental societal change. Civil rights, economic justice.
It was a collective, political, revolutionary vision for dismantling oppression. Hugely powerful, historically significant.
And the self-help industry takes that language
and twists it. They strip it of its political, collective meaning and apply it purely to individual material goals. Your dream becomes hitting 6 figures or buying a bigger house.
Using the moral authority of the civil rights movement to sanctify personal wealth accumulation.
It's a profound distortion. It equates selfish ambition with moral heroism and drains truly revolutionary language of its power.
And how do they make sure these narratives actually land emotionally?
They use techniques like regression triggering. This involves using inner child language or focusing on past wounds.
But not for actual therapy.
Not usually in a sustained therapeutic way. It's often used more strategically to make you more receptive.
How so?
By encouraging you to connect with a more vulnerable childlike state, embrace your inner 5-year-old's potential. It can temporarily bypass your adult critical thinking.
Making you more open to simple, authoritative instructions from the guru.
Exactly. You trade complex adult reasoning for the promise of easy answers and emotional relief. It primes you for the conditioning.
And that vulnerability opens the door for more direct emotional manipulation tactics, right?
Definitely. These are designed to keep you moving forward, keep you invested, without stopping to think too hard.
Like fear pathologization, this one seems huge.
It is. Think about normal, healthy caution. Hesitating before taking a huge financial risk. Questioning if a business idea is viable.
Sensible stuff.
In the self-help framework, that rational hesitation gets reframed. It's not prudence, it's a pathology. It's a limiting belief. It's fear holding you back, something you must conquer.
So you're made to feel ashamed of being careful.
Yes. It teaches you that critical thinking about risk is a sign of weakness. It pushes you towards impulsive action, which is exactly what the formula often requires.
And once you're told to ignore fear, they ramp up the pressure.
With urgency manufacturing, setting completely arbitrary deadlines.
Like the example, manifest X by June 1st, 2003. Why?
Because pressure cooker environments prevent reflection. If you feel you're running out of time, you're less likely to stop, analyze the situation, question the advice. You just act.
Panic leads to compliance.
Right. And finally, tying it all together is social proof exploitation.
The testimonials. The success stories everywhere.
A constant barrage of them. Often carefully selected and filtered, of course. This creates a powerful illusion of consensus.
Making you feel like you're the only one it's not working for.
Exactly. If everyone else seems to be succeeding with these steps, your own doubts or failures feel isolating. It leverages our basic human need to belong.
Making you think the problem must be you, not the formula or the stories.
It pressures you into conforming, into believing, because the alternative is feeling like an outlier, a failure.
Okay, we've taken apart the mechanism, the flawed logic, the emotional hooks. Now let's zoom out. Let's put on the strategic command hat.
Looking at it from a power perspective.
Exactly. Cui bono. Who truly benefits when you dedicate yourself to this kind of self-improvement? It's not just about you and your goals.
No, your personal journey, as framed by this industry, serves broader systemic functions. It actually helps stabilize the existing power structures.
How so? What are these system-stabilizing functions?
The biggest one, the absolute linchpin, is structural absolution.
Absolving the structure, meaning the system itself.
Yes. It completely lifts responsibility off of flawed systems, economic, political, social systems that might be inherently unfair or rigged.
And places all that responsibility squarely onto whom?
The individual. Always the individual. The market crashes, your industry gets disrupted, wages stagnate.
According to this ideology, that's because I didn't visualize hard enough, didn't hustle enough, didn't build my personal brand.
Precisely. The system capital, the state, the market is let off the hook. It bears no responsibility for collective outcomes or well-being. It's all on you.
That's incredibly convenient for the system.
Extremely. And function number 2 flows from that. Dissent neutralization.
How does it neutralize dissent?
Think about the energy it takes to want change. Anger about injustice, frustration with inequality, the desire to challenge the status quo.
That's powerful energy, potentially revolutionary energy.
Right, but this ideology redirects all that energy inward. It channels it into private, individual, self-improvement projects.
So instead of organizing for better wages, I should be optimizing my morning routine. Instead of protesting policy, I should be meditating on abundance.
That's the effect. The desire for systemic change gets privatized. It becomes a personal project, not a collective one. It prevents mobilization.
Keeping people busy tweaking themselves instead of challenging power.
And the third function, maybe the most directly profitable for employers, is compliance production.
Creating compliant workers.
Creating subjects who are perfectly conditioned to interpret exploitation as opportunity.
How does that work? Working insane hours for low pay becomes
Feedback. A challenge to overcome. A sign you're stretching yourself. Poor management. That's a chance to practice radical responsibility. Constant pressure. That builds resilience.
Wow. It reframes negative experiences as necessary steps on your personal growth journey.
Exactly. This ties into what thinkers like Foucault called technologies of the self, practices people use to manage themselves. The self-help industry weaponizes this.
Making you police yourself.
Making you your own ideal manager, your own supervisor, constantly pushing yourself to align with the system's demands, believing it's for your own good. You self-discipline, you self-exploit.
So let's name names. Who are the beneficiaries of me diligently following my 6 steps?
Well, first, capital. The owners, the shareholders, they get a workforce that pushes itself harder, demands less, and blames itself for burnout. less need for costly oversight or real incentives.
Because the motivation is internal, spiritual almost.
Right. Second, the managerial class. It
Mm.
makes their job much easier. Employees see KPIs not just as targets, but as measures of their personal worth and progress.
Takes the heat off managers for unrealistic demands or systemic problems.
Definitely. And third, of course, the success industry itself.
The gurus, the coaches, the publishing houses.
By creating and promoting an ideology where failure is always internal, always your fault, they ensure a perpetual market.
Because if I fail, I just need more of their product.
Exactly. More books, more courses, more coaching to fix the flaws the ideology convinced you that you have. It feeds on the anxiety it helps create. A perfect loop. Okay, digging deeper now, let's look at the specific tools, the weapons in this core deception framework. These are the underlying lies that trap people philosophically.
Beyond just the bad logic, these are the deeper assumptions that structure the whole thing, like the quantification imperative.
Yes, this is so pervasive in corporate culture, and the success formulas amplify it massively. It creates this false choice.
That if something can't be easily measured, counted, turned into a metric.
Then it's basically worthless, invalid, irrelevant to success.
Things like empathy, community connection, the simple joy of doing something, artistic value.
If you can't assign a number to it, a dollar value, a follower count, and efficiency gain, it gets dismissed. Your value as a person gets reduced to your measurable output.
Which guarantees dissatisfaction unless you're constantly producing for the market.
Absolutely. And closely linked is revisiting feedback internalization, but focusing on the victim blaming aspect.
We talked about the circular logic, failure is your fault, but the effect is
You internalize oppression, you accept systemic failure as personal failure. The sources used a striking phrase. It makes people polish their own chains.
believing they deserve the struggle.
Yeah, or that the struggle itself is proof of their virtue, proof they're on the verge of a breakthrough. They defend the system hurting them because they've reframed the pain as necessary feedback.
And the ultimate philosophical con, the big one,
The mastery deception. This is where it gets really insidious. It's a form of spiritual bypassing,
confusing what for what.
confusing competence within a closed system for genuine freedom or enlightenment, achieving perfect compliance with the formula, mastering the 6 steps that gets presented as self-mastery.
So becoming the perfect cog in the machine is sold as liberation.
Essentially, yes. To really get this, we have to look at the history, the lineage of these ideas. Take specific goal setting. Sounds harmless, right? Productive even.
Standard advice, smart goals and all that.
But where does that intense focus on breaking everything down into specific, measurable steps come from? Our sources trace it straight back to Taylorism.
Frederick Winslow Taylor. Scientific management from like the factory floor.
Exactly. Late 19th, early 20th century. Taylor's whole system was about optimizing factory work by breaking tasks into tiny, measurable, hyper-efficient steps for workers. Pure industrial efficiency engineering.
So when a guru tells you to apply that same microscopic step-by-step optimization to your life, your dreams, your emotions,
They're literally applying industrial factory management techniques to your psyche. It leads directly to what the philosopher Byung-Chul calls the achievement society,
where we shift from being exploited by external bosses.
to becoming our own taskmasters.
Yeah.
We drive ourselves relentlessly, optimizing every minute, self-exploiting for the benefit of the system, believing it's personal development.
Okay, that's disturbing. What about the obsession with fear conquering?
The absolute insistence that you must crush all fear, all doubt, all hesitation.
Where does that impulse come from, structurally?
The sources compare it to control mechanisms like military basic training. Boot camp demands recruits suppress fear to ensure immediate, unquestioning action and obedience. Efficiency over reflection.
But that's totally different from how, say, therapy or philosophy approaches fear.
Completely different. Buddhism, for example, teaches mindfulness of fear, understanding it. Feminist or anti-colonial thought often sees fear as a rational signal in response to actual danger or oppression.
A warning system.
Yes, a valid response to a threatening situation. But the success formula demands you disable that warning system. Treat the signal as the problem.
Because the system needs you to push forward regardless of risk.
Right. And finally, tracing the historical lineage just confirms that this isn't new. It's old wine in new bottles.
It connects back to the Protestant Reformation. Hard work, wealth as signs of grace.
That's the root. Then it morphs into the American prosperity gospel. God wants you to be rich. Wealth is a sign of divine favor.
And now, neoliberal self-help.
which just swaps out God for the universe or the law of attraction or your RAS. It's the same underlying mechanism of control, promising rewards for compliance and blaming the individual for failure.
Just repackaged for a secular, market-driven age?
You pay the guru now instead of putting it in the collection plate. But the ideological function remains remarkably similar.
So pulling all these threads together, what's the ultimate synthesis? What's the master falsehood at the heart of this entire industry?
It seems to be the idea that freedom means getting better at playing the game within the existing rules.
Exactly. That liberation comes from successfully navigating oppressive systems, rather than questioning or trying to change the systems themselves.
They sell you a feeling of autonomy while actually reinforcing subordination.
You end up experiencing your own compliance, your own self-optimization, your exhaustion even, as signs of your personal growth. Your subordination feels like self-actualization. But the good news is, once you see the machinery,
You're already halfway out. You can't unsee it. So let's talk about the alternative, the emancipatory alternative for you, the listener.
which starts with rejecting the binary they force on you. Success versus failure, defined on their terms.
Yeah, absolutely. Step one is to ditch their whole valuation system. Stop needing to put a capitalist price tag on everything. We need genuinely alternative metrics for a good life.
Like what? What does that look like in practice?
First, prioritizing community well-being over just individual accumulation.
Shifting the focus outward.
Radically so.
Yeah.
Asking, does my work build connection? Does it improve the health of my local environment, my social fabric? Am I contributing to something larger than my own bank account?
Measuring success by collective flourishing, not just personal gain.
Right. Measuring by the health of relationships and communities, not just your relative position within the hierarchy. Second, cultivate process-oriented values.
Finding meaning in the doing, not just the outcome.
Yes. Deriving satisfaction from the craft, the learning, the engagement, the quality of the experience itself, the joy of creation.
That's the opposite of the formulaic approach, isn't it? Which is all about the end goal, the metric.
Totally. If you value the process, you're less dependent on external validation or market rewards. The activity itself is rewarding. It makes you more resilient when the outcomes don't match expectations.
And the third alternative, this feels critical.
Systemic literacy. Understanding your actual place within the real structures of power.
So stop buying the myth of total individual autonomy.
Yes. Recognize that external forces, economic trends, political decisions, social biases are real, powerful, and often deliberately stacked against you.
That's not being negative, it's just
Yeah.
reality.
It's intellectual sobriety, knowing the actual rules of the game, seeing who benefits, understanding the constraints. That's far more empowering than pretending you can just visualize your way past systemic barriers.
Okay, so if people listening want to start deprogramming, let's say, what are some concrete techniques?
We need tools to fight back against this pervasive ideology. First, practice ideological tracing.
Meaning?
When you encounter success advice anywhere, from anyone, immediately ask, who profits if I follow this? Cui bono? If the advice demands sacrifice from you, trace where the benefit flows. It's often not towards you.
Good one. Second.
Practice contradiction spotting. Actively look for the logical gaps, the internal inconsistencies.
Like the guru saying anyone can be a millionaire while living in a system with finite resources and inherent inequality.
Exactly. Hold those contradictions. Don't let the inspiring language make you ignore the faulty logic or the mathematical impossibilities.
And third,
Historical contextualization. When some new insight or secret is presented, ask if it's actually new.
or is it just Taylorism again, or the prosperity gospel in a new suit?
Precisely. Recognize the recycled control mechanisms. If you know the history, you understand the agenda. It loses its magical power.
Okay, that gives people some real tools to start seeing the system.
And that's our deep dive for this week.
Remember, the most dangerous illusion is the one you don't know you're in.
But now you know. So we've torn apart the 6 steps to success. We've looked at the logic, the psychology, the power dynamics. Now the real question is, what is the one idea you held on to? Maybe a self-help mantra, a belief about success or responsibility, that after this conversation, you're finally ready to put on the chopping block.
Let us know in the comments. Question the narrative, deconstruct the dogma, see the system.
We'll see you next time. Stay skeptical. Thank you for joining us.